Hello, I am Queen Elisheba Tahlia. I am here to tell you the truth. In the beginning, Yah, as we know, is Yahweh, is the creator, excuse me, created, give me 1 second. Yah, who we know as Yahweh, the creator, created the heavens and the earth. There were angels and everything that we can ever imagine to be in heaven. And then who we know as Satan, Lucifer, sinned against Yah, thinking that he could come above Yah, and he created a throne on top of Yah. And Yah looked up and was like, okay, I need to send you and your followers and create a place for you all beneath the earth, known as the underground. Okay, so then Yah created man from dust. He picked the dust up and blew the breath of life into that dust and created a man and a woman in one as a hermaphrodite, modern day hermaphrodite, as we known as. And Adam was lonely. It was just him and himself, in one, he and she as one. And Yah created Eve, as we know, out of one of Adam's rib. There and there was Adam and Eve. So we have, we're all about this Adam and Eve. Then we have Canaan and Abel. Canaan slew Abel because he was jealous of him. And Yah came to Abel and asked him, and we know it was Satan that created the destruction of Eve because he was so angry at Yah for sending him into the underworld. So, but anyway, we get to Cain and Abel, and he slew his brother because he was jealous. And Yah came to Canaan and asked, "Where is your brother?" And he asked him, "Am I my brother's keeper?" And Yah was simply like, in other terms, yes, you are your brother's keeper. And he heard Abel screaming for him under the ground, even though he was, obviously slew, but he was still of spirit. His flesh was gone, but his spirit was still there, just underground. And Yah heard him. Okay, then we have Cain and Abel, and then so there's Cain. And let's get down to the flood, right? We have Noah, the preserved seed. He's righteous. Yah wants to keep his bloodline going. Hence, he is our father on earth. He begotten everything. His three sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, were given the responsibility of populating the world. Sorry, this is just coming to me and it's strange, but we'll get to all that nonetheless. So we have the three sons. Now, the sons of Ham and his sons, moved to the continent of Africa. Shem and his sons and family moved to the continent, or not the continent, excuse me, the Middle East, what we know as Saudi Arabia, Yemen, Oman, and Japhet moved to Asia and most of Europe, or a little bit of Europe, most of Asia. And so there we have the division of race. That's what we know as race. The three sons, one was Sorry, one was dark and unsightly. One was, fearsome to where one would, have fear upon seeing them, and one was fair skinned and the most favored, favorable or favored, because they were the ones to continually practice monotheism, which is worshiping one God, which is Yah. And then you have Japhet, who was white, and Ham and Japhet both worshipped more than one God, and that was um, hurtful to Yah, since He's the Creator and there's only one. It's one of us, and you know what I mean. It's one entirely. Everything is everything equally, and so we get to. Sorry, this is so deep. This is life, guys. This is the truth. And so we have the three sons, right? And so of Shem, which, they intermingled. Some Shemites were in Africa, some were in parts of Europe, as well as some parts of Asia. And they're, same thing with everything. And so there was something that Ham did to his father Noah. He looked at his father while he was naked in some fashion that was unsightly, that was, and so he went and got his brothers, and he thought his brothers were going to find it funny too, and they didn't find it funny, but Japhet and Shem were a little bit closer. And so what Ham's, I would say curse, but his curse was that his son Canaan would have to, that he would serve his brothers himself. Ham would have to serve his brothers, Japhet and Shem, and that he would, I'm sorry, Ham and Japhet, and then Ham, his son Canaan, would be cursed just for longevity. It was something that it skipped Ham, even though he did it. His sons were to carry out the curse. So you're living your parents' sins, in for lack of a better word. And so then we get to, excuse me, we get to Abraham. He begat Isaac, Ishmael, and another son. It was actually a lot of a lot of other children, but I'm just getting Isaac and Ishmael at the moment, and they were two fathers of nations. I'm sorry, I can't remember specific nations. I mean, this is just coming as it is, and so we have Abraham and Sarah, who were initially Abram and Sarai. I'm just hitting the key points here, the key seeds of the situations. So Abraham, and then we have Abraham went and established the first covenant with Yah. Yah came down in the light, simply light, no form, no flesh, just light. Came down to Abraham and told him, go and slay your son Isaac. And he was just like, okay, no questions asked. And so he was gathering his things and told Isaac, come on. And he went to a place where Yah told him to go, Yahweh. And he attempted to slay his son when Yah said no. He says, Abraham, stop. And Abraham looked up and he saw a ram in the thicket. So he slew the ram. And instead of his son. So it was a exchange. And, the Bible is full of we're not talking about the Bible is a good starting point, but you want to use the Bible for that initiation of self, for that to kind of come to you. But it's coming nonetheless. So he was able to exchange the ram for Isaac, and he was able to keep his son. And so Isaac was the father of Jacob, excuse me, who is known as Israel. He became Israel, and he became Israel. So he had 12 sons of Israel, and they were all important. Everyone is as important as they are, because everyone is them. We'll get into that. But so we have the 12 sons of Israel, and one of them's name is Joseph. And Joseph kept having revelations and dreams about what the future would bring. He was like, one day you all, my brothers and sisters, will serve me, and one day, this and that. And he was, interpreting any dream that someone had they couldn't understand. They would go to Joseph, and he'd be able to tell them what it meant. And his brothers and sisters and his dad had got him a nice jacket full of all colors. His dad being Israel, who is Jacob. His and so he had on a beautiful, multicolored jacket, and they despised him. They were jealous of their brother, and so they took him to. They thought they decided they were going to kill him, and then they decided, well, no, we don't want his blood on our hands. You know what I'm saying? Let's just sell him to the Ishmaelites and make some money. And so they brought the jacket back to their dad and said, "Oh, he's been killed." And so he was in, I can't remember where, I think Israel. He was in Israel when he was serving for the Egyptians. No, I don't know. I don't know. Okay, I'm human, flesh. So it's it was wherever they were. I guess he was in Egypt. He went to Egypt, and he was under the Pharaoh. Well, excuse me, I jumped ahead. He went over, and the Pharaoh's wife wanted to sleep with uh, Joseph, and I'm getting so nervous. I come in and out, but but the wife slept with Joseph, and hold on. Well, no, I'm sorry. The wife wanted to sleep with Joseph, and Joseph didn't want her. And she, was not used to taking no for an answer, being, the queen, the Pharaoh's wife, right? And so, I'm so sorry, guys. Give me 1 second. All right. Sorry. So the Pharaoh's wife didn't wanted Joseph. Joseph didn't want her, and she felt like, I'm the Pharaoh's wife. Why wouldn't you want me? Oh, I'm this top person anyway. He didn't want her, and she lied on him. She called him in the house some kind of way, and he ran off from her. And she had his drawers and short, and she lied on him and said that told the guards they came in that he came in on her, and he was thrown into prison. So in prison, he was interpreting several of the inmates' dreams, several of the beloved inmates' dreams. They were set down for a reason. And word got out that he could interpret these dreams as so. And Pharaoh had a dream one night, and he couldn't interpret. He couldn't figure out what it meant. And so he got wind that Joseph could interpret these dreams. And so what he did is he called Joseph out of prison, and he was able to interpret his dream. And Pharaoh said, "You know what? I'm going to give you everything I have. Everything I have is yours, except for my throne and my wife." And Joseph was essentially the second in command, the general, right? And so we get to his brothers having a famine where they lived. I said it at first. Over in, I can't think of it. I get blocked. And so, nonetheless, where they were from, and they come to their brother Joseph. They couldn't even recognize him, but he recognized them because he knew, what they wore. And so he knew what they wore. And so he ended up, saving their youngest brother, where hence the last would be first and the first last. That's the way. And so he ended up preserving his brother. But nonetheless, from that, it was just, they ended up doing what he prophesied, essentially. And so we get from Joseph to Moses. We have Moses, who led his people through the Red Sea unto the Promised Land, where he went to the top of Mount Sinai and received the second covenant from Yah, which told him, this time around, instead of me being around you, I will be inside of you and around you, meaning your heart is mine. I am your heart. And if you follow your heart, you will become as me. We will be as one, and as will the world. But if you disobey, your life will be hell. You will go through death and destruction. Your life will be cursed. Everything you have, everything you hold, you will have nothing. You will be nothing until you come back to your heart's desires, to me, to your Eloheim. You will be condemned. Your life will be hard. And I'm not saying that once you become, your heart's desire, you start to listen to what your heart is saying and telling to you, that life will, you will not go through life and not to go through obstacles. But at this time, it's easier because you have the power that's vested in you this time around. So what we have experienced throughout this life and our ancestors and the things that happened prior to is essentially, it's the truth. It's the way it's supposed to go. So everything that's built up is because the sons of Shem disobeyed, and it all goes back to one, but they disobeyed what they were told of them. They said, go into the world, but do not become of the world. Do not slave to the world. Serve the world, love everything in the world. Know that the world is yours, and you are the world. It's you have to know those things. But until you realize those, life will be hard. And so in this day and age, we have the day of technology. Yah created Yahoo. Another way of saying Yahweh is I'm sorry, Yahuwah. Yahuwah. So Yahoo is a search engine, so you can look up anything you ever wanted to know about Yah. I mean, all of it is Him. We're just pieces of the puzzle, of the grand scheme of things. But soon the days are coming to an end. I have to tell you about this because that's been my calling. And we have to follow our hearts, follow our Elohim, because we know discernment, we know right from wrong, we know everything. We just choose to ignore it. Well, no more of that, because if you die tomorrow and you've ignored your heart, you see, the only thing that gets weighed on the day of judgment is your heart. And if it's heavier than a feather, you're not living life in the light of righteousness. And I'm not saying I was always this way. I'm saying I've been conditioned and humanized and made to understand everyone's plight. Because I've seen it all. and I mean, there's absolutely nothing you can tell me that I would not understand. So there's Moses, Mount Sinai. We talked about how he came, how he was received a second. And so, since we ignored that for 400 years, our people were afflicted. We were in slavery. I want you to read Deuteronomy 28 and on, and it'll tell you what we suffered, and we being African Americans and all of those that were enslaved. I mean, there's several, and really indigenous people of Turtle Island, which we are, is America. But um, shout out to Dane Calloway. And so, a lot of things that you go through life, the people that you meet, they're on purpose. You met this person on purpose. They're to teach you something about yourself. Go inside of yourself, guys. Learn yourself. That's the only way. Love yourself. That's the only way you'll love anybody else, because you are the world and the world is you. So when you love yourself, then you begin to love the world. You can love the world around you, because everything that's surrounding us is Yah. We are of Him, we are in Him, and we are loved and unconditionally. So come back, serve Yah, worship Yah. Worship means to work for. Don't work for your addictions or your car or your money or anything that you have. Work for Yah, and it will come. That is the message. That is the truth that I've been given to you. And then we have our brother Jesus. We have the Holy Trinity. We have Yah being the Most High, the highest up, and we have Jesus being the body enfleshment, the incarnation of Yah Himself, born through a son, through a woman that has, and He knew no sin. Yeshua, instead of so Yahweh and Yeshua, and then you have the Holy Spirit being everything that surrounds us, the world. Okay, so then you'll see where evil and good are absolutely necessary until we get back to this oneness of all good. And that is, those days are coming. So listen to your heart and you will be okay. So I behoove you to take this message, spread this message, let everybody know that the time has come. And as plain as that. I love you. Take care. And may Yah bless you with your eyes and your ears open and what happened. Because that is the plan. Amen.